This episode contains adult language and themes. It is intended for mature audiences 18 and older. Listeners, please be advised. What is up? Thank you for joining me. I am Phil Dawson. This is the Magic the Gathering unofficial audiobooks podcast. And yes, this is a special edition. This is our Recapisode. And I'm happy to look back at the first two books with you. What we've seen, what we have learned, who we've met, and who we've said goodbye to. I didn't get a chance to do this after the first book, which, looking back on it, I wish I did. So we'll also talk a little bit about the Brothers' War, which, I don't know, but if you're in the Discord or you follow closely and are, again, this is being recorded in April of 2022. We got our first spoiler of a card from the Brothers' War, Parallel Lives redone, and it has both Mishra and Urza holding their respective stones. And it got me, pretty hard in my pants. I don't know another way to put that. On how cool this is and how it's going to be so meaningful and how excited I am. Okay? Let's get that out of the way. Let's start there, though. The meaning has been so different for each one of us, right? We're all Magic the Gathering fans and obviously want to hear the lore. But for me personally, and I'm thinking this is for you too, if you've been listening to this and following along, like this is the lore part that we're totally into right now. Much of the other lore I know and I like. Love the story of the Oath of the Gatewatch. Ravnica was cool. What happened with Jace and Lillian and Vraska and the Chainmail and there's so many other storylines, but those are like so far in the future, right? That we've been a part of and have read. Like this is the beginning. This is where it starts. And those stories all have meaning and I like them. But these are the books we've just finished. So because this set is coming out as well, and we've gone through this whole war itself, it has this very personal significance to me. And again, probably you too, as we're doing this together. And by the way, before we deep dive too deep, I have corrections to make because it was bothering me so much during the last few episodes, especially after the whole in-canon correction to the pronunciation of the word Koilos. If you don't remember, Urza supposedly was pronouncing it Koilos, and then gets corrected, or Zansha gets corrected by Rat, or Urza's brother, in quotations, to Koilos, like we all say it now. But I had gone back and was listening to some podcasts from Mark Rosewater, the lead designer of the game, and if you haven't listened to his Drive the Work podcast, it's really good, a lot of fun. But he had the correct pronunciations of things, and it ate at me. The name of Urza's brother, Mishra. I was saying Mishra for 2 whole books, and it's Mishra. So if you go to your local game store, don't make the same mistake I did. Call him Mishra or Mishra. Probably no one really cares that much, but it really did bother me after hearing it. Same thing with Dominaria, and I should have known that. They released the set of Dominaria not too long ago, but that was right as I was planning my move to come here, and I wasn't really playing or following Magic at the time, so in depth because I was doing other stuff. So I felt like a real schlub of sorts. I described it on the Patreon a while ago as feeling like a new weatherman on your local TV station. Have you ever experienced these guys? They butcher all the names of the small towns around you or wherever you're at, and they sound completely new to it, and you're like, look at this guy. What is this guy doing? Look at this buffoon just butchering the names of Pecatonica and Wanakee and Waukesha, right? Like, who is this guy? Whether they know anything? That's how I felt. So what I'm trying to say and get to is that when I find the correct pronunciations, I will do my best to change them to what they're supposed to be. But again, try not to let that take away from your enjoyment. And I'm sure it has not, but just so you know, like it matters to me to the point where if I learn it, I want to do it correctly, okay? We have a lot to get into, right? And first and foremost, how I'm approaching this is just I have like a list right here of basically headlines and thoughts that run through my head and just kind of winging it off of these headlines. So it's not the most critical think piece. It's more of an exercise in understanding and comprehension and enjoying this stuff. So let's get going, right? So let's start with this. How much of a psycho is Urza? Right? The number one deal here is this guy. And the evidence of this psychosis is him trying to solo Phyrexia. Flying in on a dragon engine he made with spider legs, starts firebombing the shit out of it, like, rock on, you old bastard, but good God, that is insane, right? And just thinking it was feasible is a little insane for a guy who's been around for 3,000 years, maybe, right? And also one of the things I had a hard time buying, unless he's locked in this realm of insanity, is him buying some rando as his brother. He looks like his brother. He talks and acts like his brother after some coaching lessons with Sancha. But it was a weird sell to me reading it. And obviously I took it in. They made it more believable with the whole rat hears the stones singing and seeing some of Mishra's memories and whatnot. But I would like to see how that developed even further, because we know that Mishra was absolutely insane by the end of the Brothers' War. The old line about doing the same thing over and over again, just expecting different results, is insanity. Well, that's what Mishra was in the clutches of. So I would love to see how the corruption took hold of Mishra more. It's kind of like we flash in and he's just closer and closer to a complete Phyrexian or cyborg or whatever they make you, right? The corruption part of the storyline and what it does to you, besides just replacing body parts, is intriguing to me. They also had a flash of what happens when Gix in the final battle scene of Planeswalker, not the one in the Cave of Koilos, but when he's in Effin Pincher and throws the laser out and it knocks everyone down and they don't know why, they're confused and what just happened. But Zansha knows their minds were all touched by a demon. Like, that was a really cool look into the corruption process. We saw the process too when in the Brothers' War, Gix would stick his fingers into the human skulls and feed off the memories and thoughts of the Brotherhood. Like, so was he doing this to Mishra too? Because they had a relationship, right? And Mishra stole from him. He stole the dragon engine somehow. We didn't get a real good explanation of that either, how Mishra connected to Phyrexia through his dreams, but that's also what the Brotherhood did. So there's this real cool dynamic happening that gets little explanation and even less screen time, if you will. You know, they don't really talk about it so much. And again, I say all of that knowing there is a perfectly legitimate and kind of easy way out of explanation for this. Like, oh, he was corrupted by the stones, or, you know, they're corrupted by the stones. Urza is ignited by the stones. And, like, it's this catch-all. But I'd like to see more or know more. And, you know, maybe there is more in that, about that, in the Thran or the Ice Age books, which we skipped. So, seemingly, stages of insanity, or where someone is in their ability to remain in the present and sane, is like this thematic element in both stories. And same thing with the, like, moral compass. Like, where are the characters falling in their do good or do evil or just do something type, you know, who are they as moral people? I mean, the heartbreaking scene in the Brothers' War when Caleb Inkrug's dad just, like, yeets the chance of reconciliation between the two. Like, he needed to chill in the moment, but it just wasn't happening. He's dropping bombs with ornithopters. And, like, what? That basically set off the rest of the war, right? And I'm not sure how much of that was influenced, you know, by Phyrexia, but that's kind of their playbook, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, was he touched by Phyrexia too? Like, that seemingly was just cultures clashing, you know? So, also big, and I guess this is number 2. What I have written here is kind of dumb. It's Urza up, Mishra down concept, but it's more like a dichotomy of what is the word I'm looking for? Urza is like it's like a superiority complex, and Mishra has this inferiority complex, and this plays this huge role in their relationship throughout the entire book. And it plays this huge role on the entirety of the relationship between Urza and Zansha in Planeswalker. And again, the easy write-off is the stones, right? Like, he has the Might Stone, so he thinks he's better than everyone, at least in the Brothers' War, and then and Mishra has the Weak Stone, so I don't know, somehow it makes him weaker. But scenes where Urza loses this superiority complex are really significant, and some of the most fun scenes to me, to be honest. And I'm not sure if he has any of those moments in the Brothers' War. I can't think of any off the top of my head. He always is like the best, thinks he's right, doing everything. This is even before he's Urza Planeswalker. He has this in his DNA, even prior to them finding the stones. That's who he is. So, like, maybe the stones exacerbates this, right? But the Weak Stone also, like, balances it in some cases. So, I'm not sure. But when he's, for instance, in the presence of Sarah, when he finds Sarah's realm, he has an equal of sorts, and his attitude is all different, and the complex sort of disappears when he went to Equilor. And one of my favorite scenes is one of that is like so insignificant, but he's confounded by the lights that are in Equilor. He can't figure it out. And it shows this vulnerability as an almighty sorcerer or thinker or whatever that he's supposed to be. And then he doesn't get his way in Equilor, which was also significant because that makes him continue his journey to track down Yawgmoth and friends, right? Also, when the other Planeswalkers, right, in Planeswalker, they go somewhere, and he has to save Zansha from a sun blast, and she has to, like, heal for a year because she basically died. He survived and saved her. They walked away from this big sun explosion, but there were these other Planeswalkers, these other powerful characters that we get no indication of where or what or why, what's going on. Like, they're just meeting, and how many has Urza met in the past, and what is the relationship they have there. We got the slightest info on one when he almost got trapped in the time pit. I forget what the name of that Planeswalker was, but that was it. That was like, so will those characters show up again? And what is Urza's stance or the personality? What is his standing among them, among the rest of the Planeswalkers? And I just remembered that what was the one who died? The one who died in that scene, if you remember, there's one plane. It was the new Planeswalker, and Urza had been, he doesn't trust Planeswalkers because they're vicious, vile, insane people, right? And they got all kinds of power, and they kill, and they especially take, if you're a new Planeswalker, they're gonna like hunt you down and take you out. And the one on that particular world who did die was hiding as a pavilion. That's right, a pavilion. If I'm a Planeswalker, the last thing I'm going to do is show up somewhere, show up as an illusory pavilion. What is that? What? Just what? Why would you do that? That's like showing up. I'm a Planeswalker, and you become a chair or a desk. She's probably a big, beautiful pavilion. What? Why? What is it? Like, you're hiding? So I'm hiding in plain sight as, like, it's just stupid. Like, why did she get, who is this? Why does she have a spark? Why is she hiding as a pavilion? Like, if that's the first thing you turn into. Okay. Sorry, as an aside, too, this goes for something else. I want to know what's happening for dragons, too, okay? I'm hoping to get a guest on the next time we have a show and to tell me what is happening with, like, Ugin during this time, or Nico Bolas. Like, what is happening? What happened to the Elder Dragons in this 3,000 years of traveling that Urza was doing? Did he not run into any? And this vexes me. And I know I could probably just, I know websites I can go read up and figure out, but, I'll do it later. But that's what I want to know. And, like, did stuff already happen? Is it currently concurrently happening while we're going through what's happening on Planeswalker? Okay, number 3. This is more of a wish of sort. And it basically says, I wish we had a whole other book on one character. And this character, to me, is probably the most fascinating character. More so than Urza. In what happened between Mishra and Urza, like I like Mishra better. I like him better as a character. I don't know, underdog or whatever he was, but I don't know. The connection to the dark side kind of thing is kind of cool. Urza is just like insane. I don't know. I don't get Urza. He's wacky. Anyway, the coolest, most fascinating character to me within the 2 books, magical abilities, was a leader, was mean, but also nice. She was bad, but also good. And of course, I'm talking about Ashnod. Has a weird character arc, a way cooler assistant than Tawnos, right? Tawnos is fine, but Ashnod is so cool. And, she treats him like a baby because she's so badass. And, she basically gives the Silex to Urza. She's the one that has to hide it from Mishra and the Brotherhood and, calls Tawnos to meet up and be like, here, he can win the war with this. She helped him win the war. If that's winning. I don't even know if that's winning, End the war. Destroy the whole planet is what I'm trying to say. She also, right, the cool staff had I don't know what was with the staff. It had Thran Power Stones in it, right? She raised the dead. She had a zombie army, right? Now, I can't remember. Was she reanimating corpses? I can't remember. Or was she just zombifying them? Her transmigrants, right? She was doing this. What? That's a character I make in a video game. I literally make that character in a video game. Like a badass woman who can raise corpses. I do this. I have that character basically right now in a video game I'm playing. And then what happened? She just dies fighting Gix? Do they have a relationship prior to this? What is her background? Out of the blue. It's like she's out of the blue. There she is. She's awesome. The Brotherhood doesn't trust her. And then all of a sudden, and I can't remember if anything was else said about her plight. I think, again, I don't know off the top of my head. She stayed behind because they're fighting and he gives her the Silex and she gives Tawnos the Silex and she's like, because Gix shows up, I'll fight Gix. And then Gix, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't remember. Did she die fighting Gix? Is that what happened? So what happened to Ashnod? She's dead, right? I mean, after 3,000 years in the Ice Age stuff, she's dead anyway. I mean, this is there's something said in those books too. I'm really regretting not reading that. So what happened to Ashnod? And I wish I could read a whole other book about her. And really, the rest of the characters that were in Argiv, we got a little, I don't know if it was a whole chapter, but of Lauren, and they're in the tower. They're the ones who had discovered how mana works, right? Had discovered magic. The mountain man dude, what's his name? Oh God. This is killing me. Felden. That guy had the cane, the limp. They just died. I think he died because he was helping Lauren get away, right? Okay. Number 4. Okay, this is okay. Did Mishra bang Urza's wife and impregnate her? Is that what's implied? We get an implication of that, but no real, I don't know. And apparently in the comics, Tawnos banged her Like, what? Caleb Ben Krugen. Wow. Giving it up to the boys. Give it up. Giving it up. I'm down with that. Number 5. Okay, let's leave that alone. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone. We didn't really talk about planes. I'm going to wrap it up here because I don't want to take too much time doing this. But in the little recapisode, I thought we have to mention, at least for me, it was really cool getting a look at how planeswalking, hence the title, works. Now, it's only from like Urza's perspective, but also how Sarah built her realm, how she keeps it alive and growing. Growing, by the way, angels banging up in her realm too. There's a lot of like banging going on in this book subtly, right? Rat Zancha, they were getting after it too. Anyway, but like how the realm is kept together, Sarah's realm is kept together, which we get it implied that that's how Yawgmoth is keeping Phyrexia together. We get no indication of how those things worked or looked in the Brothers' War, but 3 steps and you arrive anywhere. The toll it takes on non-planeswalkers and jumping all around the multiverse was pretty cool. And I'm not sure if we get more of that in the next book because it's focused on Urza, like going back in time or something. We'll find out. But I thought this was a really good capture of how it feels to be a planeswalker. Like, even though there's like this insanity, what you have the ability to do. And it gives a good look at that. And the book itself, how it's organized, which is these leaps back in time, these leaps to different realms, culminating in the landing in the same space where things of the past have happened, and this like vicious cycle of power changing hands and trying to stop things from happening. It's really cool. And I had a lot of fun reading it. Obviously, a lot of fun reading both of the books and really looking forward to book number 3, Time Streams. And I hope that you are looking forward to it as well. And if you have any questions about it, if you have other things you want me to address, if you have any comments, concerns, anything at all, like I'm really happy to interact with anyone about the books. If you haven't checked out our Discord yet, the link is in the show notes. And it's really starting to take off. It's really getting cool. A lot of very cool contributors and conversations about this kind of stuff, other kind of magic related things going on. And so it's just a fun place. If you want to drop by, you don't have to contribute at all. You can come and read what we're talking about and give your thoughts and opinions. That's what it's there for. And really, again, I want to thank you so much. All of the patrons, we hit 10 patrons as well. So that's really unexpected and really cool, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all of you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you so much for listening. And again, if you have anything, feel free to reach out. Phil and Sendai on Twitter, Phil and Sendai on Instagram. And if you stuck around this far, I have a special treat for you. So just give me 5 seconds. Don't go anywhere for 5 seconds. Urza says he's sane. Perhaps he is. Measures of sanity amongst planeswalkers are hard to come by. He has lived for over 3,000 years. He heals by merely willing it. With a thought, he steps from world to world to world. His very appearance is a matter of convenience. Clothes and even features projected by his mind. How can conventional notions of sanity apply to a planeswalker? Perhaps they cannot. But his madness began before he was a planeswalker. 3,000 years ago, a mortal Urza battled his mortal brother. Their sibling rivalry turned fratricidal. So began the Brothers' War. In his rage to kill Mishra, Urza enlisted the armies of the world, sank the Isle of Argoth, gutted the continent of Terisier, and wiped whole nations from the globe. He ushered in an ice age. In repayment for all this madness, he became a planeswalker. Urza says he regrets the destruction. True regret would be a good sign. It wasn't regret that later sent Urza on his own private invasion of Phyrexia. It was revenge for his brother. Somehow Urza convinced himself he hadn't killed Mishra, that the Phyrexian Gix had done it. True, Gix seduced Mishra with promises of awesome power and in the end transformed him into a monstrous amalgam of flesh and artifice, but Urza was Mishra's slayer. Not in his mind, though. In the mind of madness, Urza blamed Gix and plotted to get even. His motive was mad, and his invasion madder still. Urza attacked Phyrexia, one planeswalker against armies of demonic monstrosities. He lost, of course. Couldn't defeat a whole world and was nearly torn to pieces trying. Tail between his legs, Urza retreated to Serra's realm, a place of angels and floating clouds. There he convalesced, but he never truly recovered. Madness still haunted him, and so did Phyrexia. Gix followed on his tail. No sooner had Urza left Serra's realm, thinking himself whole and hale, than Gix and his demons arrived. A war began in heaven. That place, like any other where Urza has chosen to dwell, was decimated. Centuries later, it's still shrinking in its long collapse. When I point out these mad indiscretions, Urza shrugs. He claims he regained his sanity after all that. He credits his newfound perspective to Xancha and Radapi, two dear friends who sacrificed themselves to slay the demon Gix, close the portal to Phyrexia, and save my life. To them, I am forever grateful. True gratitude would be a good sign, too. Urza has never, in his 3 millennia of life, shown true gratitude, nor had a dear friend. I have known him for 3 decades. For 2 of those, I have worked side by side with him at the academy we established here on Talaria. I am not his dear friend. No one is. Most of the tutors and students at the academy don't even know his real name, calling him Master Molzra. The last person who was close enough to Urza to be a dear friend was his brother, and everyone knows what happened to him. No, Urza is incapable of regret and gratitude, of having dear friends. Not that there haven't been folks like Xancha, Radapi, Serra, and I who generally love the man and would give our lives for him, but he seems incapable of returning our affection. That's not enough to declare him insane, of course. As I've said, measures of sanity amongst planeswalkers are hard to come by. But there's something mad about Urza's blithe belief that Xancha and Radapi sacrificed themselves, that Serra's realm and Argoth sacrificed themselves, that Mishra sacrificed himself. It seems everyone and everything Urza claims to care about gets destroyed. What does that mean for me, his new dearest friend? Baron, Mage Master of Talaria.